Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Got a really cool video for you today. It may be applicable to many of you, assuming you go to audiophile shows or read audiophile show reports. We're getting ramped up again with shows starting in just a couple weeks, Pacific Audio Fest as well as CEDIA. And as you know, I kind of made my name in the audiophile industry with my YouTube channel, going to all these shows and my unique style of coverage, just basically going in a room, streaming, uploading right after, no editing, no fancy B-roll, nothing. And so I'm going to be doing that, but I have two shows at the same time. So I'm going to walk you through my decision-making process there and how I'm going to navigate that. But also the main point is to share with you a lesson. I've learned many lessons because even before I had a YouTube channel, I went to these shows for 30 plus years. Was a fly on the wall, just like any audiophile, learning the hard way, a lot of lessons. But there's one particular lesson that I still struggle with today. I still make this mistake, but I've learned how to navigate it, and you've seen evidence of that this year. So I want to go into more details on that to share with you before we get started. It may apply to you as you go to these shows and also help you decide if you're deciding between CEDIA and Pacific Audio Fest. But real quick, housekeeping. I know I have a lot of new analog subscribers thanks to Michael Fremer and Joe's a lot of focus on that. I want to welcome everybody. My channel is not really a siloable channel. It's more of an episodic series. So I understand new subscribers may not know who Stephanie is and some other people and things I talk about. I kind of assume you've already watched my prior videos. So what I'm going to be doing, number one, is re-releasing old content in repurposed shorts that'll get people caught up. Longtime subscribers don't need to watch it, but for people that may have missed stuff and want to catch up, that'll be a little snapshot to help. But also two things coming down the pipe. Gold Note, for you guys that are vinyl guys, that is a company you should not overlook for sure. They are one of the preeminent vinyl guys with their phono stage, turntable, and what they've done in the Vinyl Alliance. They're very much overlooked, at least in the US, I think. You're going to want to watch that tour, as well as doing everything from speakers reference all the way down, budget level, everything is covered with Gold Note. It's a phenomenal facility tour, plus a swimming pool in their facility and amazing artwork. So stay tuned for that. The other thing I have for you guys, you've been seeing this Via Blue in my backdrop. Got a big announcement there. I'm going to be representing them. I have a Zoom with them because I've been a customer for over a year. I have their vibration control. I have their videos on their cable elevators, and then they sent me their cables to kind of fill in the gaps where Blue Jeans cable, I only can do their speaker cable and their power cable. So I'm going to have a whole Zoom on that. Stay tuned for that in the near future. But getting back on topic for today, I wanted to share with you, going to these shows, one of the biggest problems I still have today. And that is when you go to these shows, you go to a room, you hear about new technology, or you hear about a brand for the first time, and it all sounds good. It sounds good literally in the room, and then it sounds good from a technical standpoint and the people. They resonate with you, the sound resonates with you, and then you get excited about it. And then in most cases, people give awards for when that happens. And then if you're just an audiophile, you're going to be giving that feedback online. You write reports or you tell people, hey, this was great or not. But here's the problem, guys. And I find myself, guilty of this as well. You got to do more due diligence than just that show. Certainly the show is better than just taking arbitrary advice online from some anonymous person you don't know. And even dealers are going to have more of a, interest that may be a little more biased to push you in one way or the other. So going to the shows, you'll at least get feedback that is your own, but you have to be cognizant of your own excitement level and overreacting to something you hear. Lots of things when you're first starting out. I know for me, when I went to CES back in 2000, almost everything I heard was better than I had at my house. And then gradually you improve your system at your house, and then the tide starts to turn, where then you hear and see fewer and fewer things at the shows that are better at your house. And then eventually everything is more about, can it sound as good in your house and better than what you already have? And so one of the problems you have is getting too excited and buying impulsively, especially when they have show discounts and they have specials. And that's a great time to take advantage of it for saving money. But make sure you've done thorough due diligence on the company and the product, because I can tell you I've made mistakes. I have been wowed by certain companies, and then upon further review, more due diligence, it wasn't as exciting as I thought at the show. I'll give you one example. I was in love with the Metaxas electrostatic speaker at Expona, but I knew to calm my nerves because even though what I heard was good in terms of the technology, the people behind the brand, great people behind it, I wasn't quite 100% sure it was going to fit my needs for bass performance at high volume levels. So if you watched, I traveled all the way to Florida on top of the show coverage to demo it. And what I found out is that nothing different with the people behind it or the company in general, but that particular model really wasn't for me. I would have to go up to the next level model to get the kind of performance I would need in the bass. So doing that due diligence and factoring that into your budget nowadays, going to the shows and doing more spending costs for due diligence or consulting with somebody that you trust, this is something that is not something you should overlook. If you make that mistake, that's where you see people constantly on the gear merry-go-round making mistakes and having to constantly be satisfied for 1-2 weeks, and then they're already neurotic again because it didn't turn out quite exactly like they thought. So that's one of the biggest learning curves that I still struggle with today. The other thing, though, it parlays into is the fact that I have 2 shows coming, and this is a good chance for you to decide which one you may want to go to. Number one, if you're in the Northwest already near Seattle, you're going to want to go to Pacific Audio Fest. It's a great venue, and it's great for the consumer. It's not that much attended. The attendance is kind of low, and so for vendors, there's a little bit of a yin-yang in terms of what they feel is a great show. But for consumers, when you've got the whole room to yourself, the sweet spot, and you can spend more time auditioning it, then you know what your impressions are more valid than when you're at Expona and you may get a few seconds in the sweet spot or never, and you're just kind of guessing how it would perform, or just based on limited exposure. So Pacific Audio Fest is a great show to go to for more due diligence, great for consumers. However, for me, I have to make a decision. I've gone to Pacific Audio Fest 2 years in a row. I supported their very, very first year, and it's a nice venue, although when the air condition doesn't work the first year, that was terrible. I mean, I had to take 2 showers. I probably needed 4 showers a day. And one thing that I will warn you about, I don't want to sabotage the show because, like I said, it's a great show to go to, but I got to be honest with you. There is some scuttlebutt out there about a potential union strike at the hotel. And there has been already accommodations made so that the show can still go on if there is a strike. However, if you are traveling there and staying at that hotel, here's what I'll warn you, because I've stayed at a hotel where all of a sudden they had union strike. They will strike all night and make a lot of noise, and you won't get much sleep. So if you already live in the Northwest, Seattle, go there, you sleep in your own bed, that even if that strike happens, you probably won't have a problem. But if you're traveling, well, maybe then that might switch your equation to maybe going to CEDIA, which is more of a commercial, so you probably have to have a press pass to get in, but it's a huge show with home theater. And when I looked at all the shows I attended last year, CEDIA for me, probably, arguably, was the most important one. Because if I thought about it, the last booth I visited at that show last year was the Blue Jeans cable booth. And since that time, that one introduction and relationship ended up turning into, shortly thereafter, me representing them. And let me tell you, I sell tons of these power cords and the speaker cables. Obviously, speaker cables, people only usually need 1 pair. But I've had so many repeat orders on the power cable, and people are extremely happy with this. And you get to customize what kind of jacketing you want. This is made to the nth degree, will compete with anything and not breaking the bank. So if you want a little higher level, I've never complained about people. I'm not going to judge your system if you still use molded power cords, whatever it is. But if you want a little sexier option, a little bit better construction, that sonic weld that I talked about in the video, that was a great introduction to me to learn about it and then see that it had the value that I could get behind and the people behind it. And now over a year, I give them a super thumbs up. And so that alone was worth CEDIA last year for me. But also I got my row 1 seating. If you watch that video and the series, I did have some trouble with the shipping, but people that come back here and demo my system almost universally give me compliments on the seating. It doesn't have a backrest that blocks my ears and gives reflections. That alone gets better measurements and better sound. That was a big plus for me. In addition, it's got lots of commercial related stuff, the Theory home pendants. This is something that I'm doing with my Airbnb and working with the developer there. That could turn into a big deal for me. So I'm going to go to the CEDIA personally. I'm scheduled to attend that show, but I will have deputized agents at the Pacific Audio Fest, like members of my channel you've seen before, Dave and other people doing videos for me. They will be at Pacific Audio Fest and filming some stuff. So I'll try to give you coverage of both. Both are worth going to depending on what your needs are. But CEDIA, if you've never gone, some of those home theater demos are phenomenal. Wisdom Audio, I have Wisdom Audio speakers in my main room. They still show at that show. It's usually a phenomenal exhibit with quantum LED screens. This is something that gives you a little bit of tangent from the normal audiophile where it's all gear. This gives you stuff like room treatment, seating, and home theater, all things that aren't typically covered in a normal audiophile show. So anyway, in any case, I wanted to give you a heads up. Both of them I'm going to try to cover for you. And that one little tip, but I have plenty more lessons coming soon from these shows. I'll try to get 30 years of experience eventually out to you guys, but making it piecemeal, one by one. So if you enjoyed, sign up, subscribe, and I'll see you back here soon.